The Last Ember, A Tale of Fire and Fate. Brought to you by AI Story Club, with a human touch. New York City in 1926 was a place of towering ambition and deepening shadows. Beneath the glow of electric signs and the rhythmic hum of jazz, industry ruled with an iron grip, and the people moved to the invisible beat of power brokers and syndicates. The city's soul was for sale, and the highest bidder was the mysterious Echelon Society, a cabal of industrialists and politicians who had long since bent the city to their will. Elias Varin, a young mechanic from the Lower East Side, had always felt like an outsider. His hands were meant for more than tightening bolts in underground speakeasies or fixing the fancy automobiles of the elite. He dreamed of something greater, something beyond the assembly lines and backroom deals that kept men like him trapped. One rainy evening, while repairing a collapsed tunnel near the East River, he uncovered something impossible, a forgotten ember, glowing faintly beneath decades of grime and dust. The moment he touched it, a searing heat rushed through him, filling his mind with visions of a time when fire had meant more than destruction. It had meant rebellion, change. The transformation nearly broke him. Fevered nights followed, where his body burned and his mind twisted with memories that were not his own, memories of men who had once wielded fire, who had fought against those who sought to control destiny itself. When he awoke, he was different. His skin hummed with a heat that didn't burn, his senses sharper, his steps lighter. But power always comes at a cost. The Echelon Society had eyes everywhere, and they sensed the shift in the city's pulse. Word spread quickly of a man with fire in his veins, and the enforcers, their black-suited men who operated in the shadows, began their hunt. Fleeing into the city's underground, Elias found refuge in the basement of an old jazz club where he met Dren, a former enforcer turned ghost. Dren had once believed in the Echelon's rule, but he had seen firsthand what happened to those who tried to break free. He trained Elias in the old ways, not just in fighting, but in understanding that the Ember was more than just power. It was the last vestige of something ancient, something that had once made men free. When the enforcers came, they did so with force, silent automobiles blocking the streets, Tommy guns flashing in the night. But Elias didn't run. He stepped out into the rain, the Ember within him flaring to life, casting a golden glow against the slick pavement. Fire roared from his hands, illuminating the dark city, and for the first time in years, the people of New York saw something greater than fear. They saw defiance. The fight was swift and brutal, but Elias had become more than a man. He had become legend. One by one, the enforcers fell, and the people, long beaten down by the weight of industry and power, began to rise. By dawn, the Echelon Society's grip had shattered, and the city, for the first time in decades, belonged to its people again. As the sun rose over New York, Elias stood atop a rooftop, the ember's light flickering in his palm. He had won the battle, but more than that, he had reignited hope.